Yeah, I mean that's a thing. You know, math god rock is a thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should. Hey, you probably are, and that's why we like you. This is a very special episode, as you can tell, especially those on YouTube right now. But the reason we have one of our coolest guests ever, Randall, aka the Whiskey Shaman. Why we have him on this week. Just a shout out, give good vibes, prayers, all those things. For Bryan, he's recovering from what he talked about last week, his hernia surgery that was upcoming last week. It is now downcoming this week, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, he's just recovering. He didn't feel like he could sit in a chair for an hour to an hour and a half. So I respect that. And luckily, we have some amazing fans, listeners, and just supporters and friends in the whiskey world, which brings me to my next point. Thank you, the Whiskey Shaman, Randall, for being flexible and being able to take this on with like a day's notice. So thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you so much. And it's really my pleasure because, you know, like I love to support people that are doing cool things. And you guys, since I found you guys from Josh, your drinking buddy, and you know, I've been supporting you guys and listening to every episode. I even went back on old episodes. I started at episode 1. I started at episode 1. I did. And man, y'all have changed a lot since then, which is for the better. I'm going to say it's for the better. No, but it's absolutely amazing to be here. And you know, if you saw on the thumbnail, we got a pretty cool whiskey we're sipping on. So it's gonna be a fun show.
Yeah, and this whiskey was not only just cool, but it was provided by Randall himself. So and not even just for the episode, he just wanted to share the wealth.
Yes,
and not only so. Here's the craziest thing: I have a 1 ounce sample here, and I think he forgot that he sent a 1 ounce sample, and he sent another. So I'm full of 2 ounces this week. So. Yeah, it's going to be good. We're drinking a 1983 Wild Turkey 101 from a cool decanter.
Yes, I have it right here.
Yeah, a wild turkey beating up a bobcat or something like that. It's crazy. So is there any whiskey in the bobcat or is it only in the
No, and actually the cork broke. When I pulled it, it was fully sealed. But when I was pulling it off, the cork broke. I'm going to put that back down because, you know, but anyway, it was really, it's a long story. We can get into it if you want, but, I found this bottle and I was like, is that for real? Did some research on it. And it was about 3/4 full, fully sealed.
That's how you know.
Obviously it's been oxidized a little bit. But we're going to get into that and all the cool things that come with a, 40+ year old whiskey. So
seriously,
that's super crazy. It really is. It's so if I'm thinking correctly, distilled. If it is the 8-year statement, distilled 1975. Wow. So
that's 50 years ago.
Yeah. Like, what are we doing? Like, that is so long ago.
So how did you, I want to know, how'd you find it? Did you find it like some sale or something like that?
No, actually, I'm a plumber by trade. So my day job, I go out and help people and stop their potties and stuff like that. There was a older lady who lived way outside of town and she has some issues, older house and stuff. Her husband passed away about 15-20 years ago.
Okay.
He was an avid whiskey connoisseur and she just kept everything he had. Well, he had multiple Jim Beam Wild Turkey decanters and a 1991 Blanton's that had never been opened.
No way.
Yes, absolutely. I tried to get
only
it from
like
her.
only within a decade of when the line started. Too.
Yes. And so I tried to get it from her, but long story. Anyway, she told me that I was looking at the massive whiskey collection, and there was a lot of Johnny Walker Red and stuff like that, which she gave me as well. But some of them had sentimental value, and she's like, I can't. Which I mean, I
hate on that.
Exactly. You can't hate on somebody wanting to keep something because it's nostalgic to them.
Totally.
So I get it. but she said, you fix the problem that I have and I'll give you that decanter. So she wrapped it up and I thought it was empty. I literally thought it was empty. I just wanted the decanter. It's a cool piece to show. I got it and it sloshed. And I was like, excuse me? And then I looked, it's sealed. And I'm like,
wow.
Oh, wow. So I did the job, gave her a discount, which, you know, as one would. And then went home and looked at it and was like, holy crap, that's an 83. And you know, then she was like, so I asked her about some of the other stuff and she goes, my husband was just a collector and he liked it. I hate it. Caveat in that she is, you know, she's more of a vodka drinker at 9 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, it's one of those things, but you know, it was difficult to work for because, you know, you can't understand which person you're talking to, but at the same time, very, very gracious and I'm appreciative to have it. And I can't wait to get into it because I've literally, I decanted it when I hit, I know this is a small amount, but when I hit 500 subs on YouTube, I actually opened it up.
Hey, you got us beat.
Absolutely. That's been a minute that's happened, but I opened it up and I decanted it into another bottle right away and sampled out all of it. Literally, I only tried it on the live stream that I was doing other than the sample I have today. So like you're getting first notes from me today. So that's going to be awesome.
That's awesome. So like really that's rare these days because like both Robbie and Bryan would usually, I would wait. I'd be like I've had some bottles on the shelf for a year with like 2 or 4 ounces missing from it. Where I'm like, all right, this is the first time I'm drinking it because I usually like to wait for fresh notes on the podcast itself. But no, this will be cool.
Yeah, no, it's I'm excited about it.
So one of the bottles I imagine she held on to was that Bland's 91.
Absolutely, because I even asked her. I said I would be more than willing, and you know, not trying to say anything, to trade or pay you for this bottle. Not that I want to open it. Like it's just super cool, and you could see that the level had gone down, even with that, even with the wax seal, because you know wax. And the Blanton's wax is really chinchy. It's not a great wax, but I was like, you know what, I got this. I'm not going to fight her. And she gave me some other things that were actually really cool. Like a 1980s ish. I don't really know. I haven't done a whole lot. Jim Beam rye at 40%. And it was, it had already been drank out of. And so it was like half a bottle at that point. And it was actually really good. It was oxidized, obviously, but it was really cool. Sampled that out to everybody as well. You know, that's the thing with the whiskey community is like, I want you to try something cool. So here, try this, you know, so
it's hard we don't drink really something so cool alone. It's
absolutely. So speaking of that, and I know you normally say this, but what are you entry buzzing on?
It's a great question. I don't have actually funny story to follow up on your old bottles story. I have 2 bottles of Wild Turkey, like actual bottles in my house right now, which is sad because I've really developed a really good appreciation for the distillery, especially recently. But one of them is a 1987 375 of Wild Turkey 101, 8-year on this one, at least it's stated. And this was, 1987. I think I mentioned that. And so I'm waiting to open this for the meetup in September. And I've had it for a few years. I got this for $40 off of a dude. And he was like, I basically offered him 80 and then realized it was a 375. I'm like, will you take 40 for it? Yeah. And I looked it up and it's worth like easily hundreds. Probably for a sealed 1987. Yeah. But, and then what I am entry buzzing on is Wild Turkey Russell's Reserve in the 15 years. So this is last year's 15 and it is as good as I remember.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Good stuff over there. Yeah,
absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Well, actually, I'm doing kind of a side by side. I got a sample that, you know, like I was saying in the thing of Wild Turkey Rare Breed, but the non-chill filtered, which is not the name of the podcast. And the Wild Turkey 101 8-year, which I fresh cracked this one as well. So I'm kind of going back and forth. Obviously, the rare breed is going to be a higher proof, so I'm not trying not to take that into consideration. But so far, I'm leaning towards the rare breed, not being a proof hound, but leaning towards the rare breed just because it's more flavorful. That's just me, though.
I still haven't tried that new one yet. I've seen it on the shelf here and there, so I gotta.
Well,
gotta see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, and this is just personal. First opens of it. It's not. No, man, I don't want to sound negative about it because it's Wild Turkey's doing amazing things. It's nothing spectacular. Like it's just good whiskey.
What I
like you could mix it in a cocktail, make it old fashioned out of it. It'd be fine. It's a little bit more expensive than the regular 101, and evidently it's hard to find in some areas. This was it was a gift from a live stream that I was on, and I won it. So I didn't even have to search for it. I don't even know if they're in Texas right now. So, but all that being said, it's a good pour. I don't know if I would pay secondary market for it though.
So speaking of Wild Turkey and Texas, you know where I'm going with this?
Maybe.
What do you think of Long Branch?
Okay, I have a near and dear story. Long Branch was one of the original Long Branch, the first batch that came out. The Matthew McConaughey sitting there and drinking his whiskey was one of the whiskeys that really got me into whiskey. Now this is probably 2014, maybe something like that.
Around there,
and it really, it was the first whiskey I drank neat.
Nice.
I did not care for it, but it was the first one that I drank neat because before I was into Crown and Coke and things like that. So it was, and I had tried so many different whiskeys and early Garrison Brothers and stuff like that, and it was just too much for me. It was absolutely, it was just it was too much for me. So I said, "Oh, this has been mellowed. It has a Texas-y thing to it." So and now obviously it's not my flavor profile, but for where I was at that time, it hit. Obviously I drank most of it on a big rock, which mellowed it even more. So it was like drinking brown water. So that's okay too. So.
I think about it sometimes, and I think that may have been. It's definitely one of the top 5, or maybe the low 5 whiskeys I've ever rated on the podcast. And that was in the first maybe 50 episodes of the podcast. And I just remember, and I don't know, I haven't tried it since that episode. I don't know if it was the glass I was drinking out, but I got sweaty gym sock all day on that thing. And I was like, I can't get around it. Like it smells like a gym locker, or a duffel bag or something like that. And it tasted like it too. So it was weird.
Exactly. Well, the first notes on the 101.8 that I got was like a pickled jalapeno or something. So I can kind of get that. I guess it's a funk that Wild Turkey has, which I think, all whiskeys have that, just depending upon where you're getting into.
Signature.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously sweaty gym sock is probably not a tasting note you want to drink, but just saying that. I don't know. It's crazy, but anyway.
So, while I have you, I might as well talk. So we are both men of faith.
We are.
And I think that's kind of cool. Actually, so was Josh from Your Drinking Buddy.
Yes,
which is kind of cool. It's cool to talk to people that we're not like this is like Chill Filters is not a Christian podcast or anything like that. We still actually, believe it or not, have the explicit rating on our podcast because we don't want to go back to the Adam days and bleep out every F word he said.
Right.
We just don't have the patience for that, so we just keep it explicit. But neither Bryan, Robbie, or I curse, or at least on the podcast. I don't curse. I still hold the record so far, never cursing. But
we'll leave that to Nick Taylor, right?
What's that?
We'll leave that to Nick Taylor.
Yeah, exactly. Which is totally fine.
Absolutely,
no issues with someone cursing on my podcast.
Right.
We do not need to bleep them.
Exactly.
But it's funny to me that Brian's not much of a cursor even outside of the podcast, but neither was Robbie. But yeah, I got my lifelong record. I can't ruin it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you
Absolutely.
consider the word bastardize a curse word.
No, I don't.
From the early days of
yeah,
the
it's
podcast. So.
you know, I think of it like this, and this is getting you know, this is getting spiritual. I think if it's in the word, it can't be a bad word because it's a word. You know, you know, a bastard is known as a unwedded son or daughter that was, you know, so it's a thing. And when you bastardize something, you basically it's not really looked at as part of the family. So I mean it's an actual thing.
Exactly.
So
and but it's cool to see, you know, someone it's cool to see many people of faith
absolutely.
On the whiskey scene, the whiskey creator scene. And you know, it's something I need. I need every day. I was reading this morning in what was it? 1 Samuel. And just love reading through the Word of God. And love it's actually one of my favorite books in the whole Bible, to be honest. And I'm not going to go too far into it for those who don't really care about the Bible.
Who don't care.
Like but it is one of my favorite books of the Bible because it talks about the hearts of people as opposed to the commands or the good or bad. Like it's like the way you learn from a book like 1 Samuel is you study people's hearts. You don't study what the Bible tells you. Like if it says don't do this or do this or you know, this or that, it's like you learn from a person like Samuel, or you learn from a person like David or Saul or all those kind of things. I love reading the scriptures. So.
Absolutely. Me too. I was just reading this morning in James. And the very first chapter of James, and I just go through and I'll pick something just, you know, randomly and just go through and read it.
What I'm thinking of. One of my favorite passages in James is verse 16, 17, where it says, do not be misled. All good and perfect gifts are from above.
Absolutely.
And I think about that and I'm like, I got all greens on my way home from the grocery store. That's a gift.
Absolutely.
From God.
Absolutely.
Like I don't know. We're not going
to
but go on.
But I and it's the same thing. And like today, it's been really hot here in Central Texas. You know, over 100 degrees. We had a rain shower about an hour ago. It has cooled it down so much that while I'm in the shed, which has no insulation on the roof, so it can get upwards of 100 degrees. I have a little air conditioner right here blowing on.
You're in right now.
Absolutely. Woo! And so as of right now, it's 77 with the AC blowing on me. So I'm good. Nice. I'm good. But I mean, I'm like, that is a blessing. You know, the fact that I knew I was going to do this and it rained on me. So also, you know, we have a little bit more time. I know you're a girl dad and I am a girl dad as well, but I have a small story to talk about. My daughter just turned 18.
Oh wow! That's
and she just got accepted into college. Absolutely fantastic. Hardin-Simmons in Abilene.
Okay. Cool.
And it's a smaller school. She's doing psychology and art.
Nice.
So she's going to be like a art psychologist. It's a thing.
Cool.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. Yeah.
I mean, that's today. Who knows what happens tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
but you know, as you guys well know, if you see on the Patreon, I am covered in tattoos. So what she wanted to do at her 18th birthday was get a tattoo. And I advised her as her parent. I said, I advise against that. Now, you would think me being that guy, you know, I've had, you know, probably over 100 hours of work put onto me. Like once you get so far into tattoos, it's hours. It's not sessions. It's hours.
It's not pieces.
And exactly. So I'm like, I advised against it very much because I was like, baby, I don't want you to regret this. And now God's going to look at you and it's up to you, between you and God at the end. I've made a bunch of mistakes in the things that I've done. And I regret a lot of the tattoos that I have. I don't want you to regret something. And I said, and also just a caveat inside that, you're going to a school that frowns upon tattoos.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm like, if you were to do this, it would have to be in a place where it would be hidden, you know, from a t-shirt or something like that. So she was adamant about it. And of course, she's 18 years old. I can't really tell her what to do.
Yeah, that was my
So
parents.
I'm like, okay, let's go do it. So on her
Mhm.
birthday, she had set up the tattoo, and we
Nice.
drove down and did the thing, and she wanted to go eat and do a celebration afterwards. And I'm like,
Nice.
I don't know if I want to celebrate this, but whatever. I love you. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Mhm.
So we went, and I'm like, what is she getting? I don't even know. Well, she
Oh,
hand drew,
cool.
for one,
Yeah.
she hand drew it, which
Nice.
is amazing. And so
Uh,
basically it's 2 postage stamps, and they're kind of
okay.
offset a little bit.
Mhm.
And one of them has a fish, and
Uh-huh.
the other one has a loaf of bread.
Nice.
And it was, the feeding of 5,000.
Yeah.
And that's what it was, she had the verse put up there, which I'm
Nice.
like, okay, if you're gonna get something, I guess that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
You're trying to do the Lord's work, but while defacing your body. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, a parenting fail possibly, but at the same time,
No.
it could be a lot worse.
Yeah,
So
100%.
that was my little story. So,
When did she turn 18?
July 10th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
So here's a
recent.
fun thing. Is that she got her first tattoo 17 years and 1 day after I got my first tattoo. And mine was on my shoulder here, and it
Mhm.
says in Latin, it says "in service to the Father." And
There
I
you
don't
go.
know what I fully meant by that little design thing, but I
Mhm,
kind of liked it at
mhm,
the time.
mhm.
Do I regret it? Not that one.
Not that one.
Would I do it the same? No.
No.
So yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like most of my tats are spiritually related.
Yeah.
One of two things happens with my tattoos. It's either math
Mhm.
related, God related, or both. So
Yeah. I mean, that's a thing.
yeah.
Math God rock is a
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. So yeah. I had one more question, but I'm forgetting. We'll probably come up and
Yeah.
if it comes back to my
Absolutely.
mind. But
Absolutely.
let's switch it over to our segment on talking about history. I know
Yeah.
Randall has some history too, so we'll get into both of them. And he's got some fun pop culture stuff too, I
Yeah.
think.
That'll
So
be fun.
but before we get that, we'll send it to a quick break. This episode is sponsored by the one and only Dramhound, bourbon lover, Vermont local, and full-time whiskey legend. Now, Dramhound isn't just a fan of American whiskey. He embodies it. If you ever seen a man stand in flannel, glass in hand, while maple leaves fall gently behind him and an eagle salutes in the distance, that was probably him. Or someone trying very hard to be him. The real magic, that's in the next generation. His amazing daughter Willow, also known by her honorary title, Dram Pup, has already mastered the ancient art of, quote, making the whiskey dizzy. A ritual swirl passed down from a dram to dram, generation to generation. They say when Dram Pup spins that Glencairn, distilleries across Kentucky pause and nod in solemn respect. Dramhound, we raise a glass to you for your support, your bourbon passion, and for raising a daughter who's clearly got the swirl and the spirit in her DNA. All right, we are back. And before I get into anything, want to talk about some notes we can get to. As you know, maybe if this is your first or second time listening, you might not know that Bryan and I are celebrating our second meetup, Chill Filtered listener and podcast co-host meetup. I don't know what we'd call it, but yeah, meetup. And it's last year we did it in Phoenix, and it was a hit. This year we're doing it in Madison, Wisconsin, where the podcast originated, actually. And we are going to be doing a Baraboo, Wisconsin Driftless Glen single barrel barrel proof rye. So we're really excited about picking that. And so if you want to be a part of it, whether you're a Patreon supporter or not, just hit us up on Instagram, Patreon, email, chillfilteredpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to be a part of that, hit us up. We do have a good amount of people coming already. And we're really stoked. Bryan and I just booked the hotel, and Got a rental car for both of us, and it's just gonna be a hit. So that's the notes to get to. So we're talking today. We are drinking a old Wild Turkey, so old that it was distilled pretty much 50 years ago, give or take a year, likely.
Right.
And that's pretty cool. And so I did some research, and I loved what I was kind of finding is not only is this an old whiskey and does it represent a cool distillery, but the coolest thing about this is what Wild Turkey actually represented. And not only that, what Jimmy Russell represented in the whiskey world, especially in the 80s. And I'll get into that in a moment. So here we go. Let's talk about some fun Wild Turkey and 80s Wild Turkey history. So founded in 1869, technically, at least they were distilling on the site. It wasn't called Wild Turkey at all, by originally the Rippey Brothers Distillery, 1989. And 1869, very different. And the Wild Turkey name was coined in 1940 when one of the executives of Austin Nichols, which used to be, in fact, it's Austin Nichols is on the label of the 87 bottle I have, used to be that company that owned it. But one of the executives of the company went for a cool hunting trip, a wild turkey hunting trip, and brought samples from a cool barrel. And they were like, we should call this Wild Turkey just for the heck of it. And then in terms of the ownership timeline, when Wild Turkey really took over, became a brand and a name, that was between the 1940s and 1971 when Austin Nichols and Company, which was just a wine and spirits merchant, purchased full rights of the brand. In 1980, though, it was acquired by Pernod Ricard, a French brand. But then almost not too long ago, more recently, in 2009, it was purchased by Campari, who we still joke about doesn't fully trust us to tell about their stories. But we love what Campari is doing. So do you remember that? Like, it was like we had Pat Heist from what's it called? Wilderness Trail on.
Wilderness Trail. Yeah.
And they were like watching us in the background, making sure that one, we didn't say anything stupid, but Pat didn't say anything stupid.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then eventually they dropped off. We're like, they trust that we're not going to say anything stupid.
Right.
But Campari doesn't trust us. So
yeah, well,
yeah. The long story short, that's what's happening. But anyway, Master Distiller Legacy. Let's talk about that for a second. So Jimmy Russell began at Wild Turkey in 1954, and he became their master distiller about 5 years later in 59. He was known as the Buddha of bourbon. That was one of his nicknames because Jimmy maintained traditional methods and resisted industry trends like chill filtration. And hey, that's sort of the name of the podcast.
Sort of.
Yeah. And he resisted things like lower proofs, and which is big for this story of what we're drinking today.
Absolutely.
And then in 2015, though, his son Eddie Russell was named co-master distiller as well. So, but in the early 80s for Wild Turkey, there was a kind of a distilling environment. Like basically in 1983, the time that this what we're drinking today was released, Wild Turkey bourbon was distilled and bottled still under Austin Nichols. And the brand maintained high rye mash bills, deep barrel char, usually about a 4 on the barrel char level, alligator char, and a strong, spicy profile. The whiskey was at the time typically 8 years old, as my bottle is 8 years old. Yours doesn't have an age limit, but it's likely 8 years old.
Likely.
And bottled at 101 proof, the standard that built the reputation of Wild Turkey. And so Jimmy Russell, in 1983, Jimmy had like over 25 years of experience distilling and was deeply committed to consistency and flavor. He resisted lowering proof or age during the bourbon glut. And for those who don't know, the 80s and early 90s were not good for bourbon.
No.
In fact, you look at brands like Blanton's, or even heck, you look at Mash Bill number 2. It is not even owned by Buffalo Trace anymore. It's not even owned by an American company anymore. Japan had a boom in whiskey in the 80s and early 90s and stuff. and they bought it. Like Age International bought the mash bill number 2 in the early 90s. That's a lot to say. And it was a big thing in the bourbon industry to lower your proof, because there was a lot of these barrels, and you're like, okay, what do we do if we can't sell bottles? Well, we'll cheapen it. We'll make like not always cheapen it, but we will make it a lower proof bottling. We will sell it for cheaper and hopefully get rid of some of the stock.
Right.
And but the cool thing is that Wild Turkey didn't follow that lead, didn't follow that trend. You know, during the bourbon glut, they wanted to make sure quality was the same, and they kept the proof, for example, at 101 proof still. They didn't change it ever. I mean, heck, it's called Wild Turkey 101.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't always, theoretically.
No,
but it was the standard for Wild Turkey. Anyway, so and the bourbon glut was huge. Yeah, I guess I wrote this down, but yeah, down period of time for domestic sales, and stocks were, you know, coming like surplus stocks for a lot of distilleries. Many distilleries cut corners, but Wild Turkey held firm on age and proof. And that's part of why, you know, in bottles like this from this era, you know, so revered today. Like this sells a lot more than what you'd find. Like I recently was my mom found a Canadian Club 6 year for me. And I was like, I wonder what this is worth. It was from the 60s for the record. I was like, I wonder what this is worth. It's not even worth like over $100, because it's just not as quality a brand as something like Wild Turkey.
Absolutely.
I kind of find that really cool.
It is.
But anyway, most Wild Turkey 101, it was, like I said, age stated 8 years. Some export bottles, you know, in limited editions may have had different specs, but bottles were often labeled, you know, what I even have rated Austin Nichols Wild Turkey 101 with paper labels and short corks with plastic caps. And so Jimmy Russell is a baller. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely.
He's such a legend. And, you know, that's what you get. Like when you're a master distiller, you get those choices. Do I need to get rid of these barrels that are, you know, piling up in the rick houses, or do I just stick to my guns and wait out this bourbon glut? And, you know, do you know when, I don't remember, I want to say it was like around this time, around the 80s. Do you know when Rare Breed was introduced?
I don't know. I think it was close to this area.
Yeah.
But
I think so too. I want to say it was like early 90s.
Yeah.
But still, like, and that's the thing. If it was the early 90s, they're putting out a barrel proof product during the bourbon glut. Like, it's just so cool to me that they just really stuck it out and really still have that reputation that they continue to have.
No, they really do. They really do.
So that's my history. You can go ahead, Randall, if you got
all right,
anything.
Cool. Well, while bourbon was still in the dark ages, sales were slumping with vodka, light spirits. They just dominated the market. Wild Turkey, they were one of the few brands that held on to tradition and high proof whiskeys. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to go back. Let's go back to 1983 and let's put ourselves in that time frame of like what was going on in the world in 83. You're talking 40 odd years ago.
Beastie Boys,
exactly. Ronald Reagan was president. And we were entering the peak of the Cold War.
Oh, that's right.
With the USSR. You know, the Korean Air Flight 007 was shot down by the Soviets. Yeah. And here's a big one. If you guys are Star Wars fans, Star Wars Return of the Jedi had just hit theaters and became a box office smash. Michael Jackson's Thriller was dominating the airways. Absolutely.
Love it.
And it changed pop music forever.
Oh, it really did.
The first appearance of the Mario Brothers came in the arcades, and my personal favorite, Fraggle Rock, debuted on TV. If you guys don't know Fraggle Rock, you're missing out. Okay, so let's talk about technology. Motorola, the Dynatac 8000X was the first mobile phone ever commercially available, but it cost $4,000. Microsoft Word made its debut, and Apple was just gearing up for their first Macintosh, launched in '84. Actually, so that is some really cool things that I saw in there, because I mean, it's just it kind of puts you back in that setting of the time frame. Like nobody was drinking whiskey. And when they were drinking whiskey, they sure weren't drinking high proof whiskey. And then Wild Turkey was like, you know what? We're going to release a high proof whiskey and y'all are going to like it. And guess what? They did. Yeah. And I just thought that was pretty cool to kind of put some other things in there. Cause when you think back 40 plus years ago, like the world has changed so much since then. And it's really cool. So that's all I got.
My parents got married in 83.
My wife was born. My wife was born in 83.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So does she enjoy whiskey?
Absolutely not. She is okay. Like she supports me in my whiskey. But if I drink like a smokier whiskey or something like that, she doesn't even want to give me a kiss goodnight. It's like, she's like, get away from me. And so I'll like brush my teeth real good, and make sure cause every man needs his night smooches, so
exactly.
I'm like, I'm not trying to not get something.
We're only human.
Exactly. So, so I'm over here brushing twice, and I'm like seriously thinking my whiskey adventure for the night. Going, should I drink a smoky one, or is there a chance? No, there's not a chance. All right, we're good.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready to pour.
Let's do it.
Not for me today, but
no,
I got two.
I don't have a cork pop either, and I actually have just a 2-ounce sample myself. So
perfect.
I will tell you that this whiskey, the nostalgia of it, I don't know, it hits a little different. Obviously, this is going to be so oxidized. And so we're going to have to, as professionals, and I feel like we're both professionals here, look past that oxidization.
Sure. Bitter,
exactly. And see the actual whiskey inside, because it's going to be a little lighter. It's going to be a little more bitter, I would say.
Yeah. I got a really cool note of bright butterscotch off just the front of the nose.
I could see that. And like apple skins, like red apple skins when you let's say you're peeling an apple for your kid, because I don't know why little kids, especially, I don't have little kids. My youngest is 12. So when little kids, they like choke on the apple skin sometimes. It's a weird thing. So you would peel the apple. Kids these days, they don't know how to eat apple. But it's I'm getting that red apple skin.
You ever have one of those apple peelers that you like crank?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's what I think of when you say apple skins. And I'm like, that's a great note for this.
Yeah. Wow. It's a little subdued in some of the notes, I would say. Obviously it's going to have the brown sugar, the caramel, typical bourbon-esque notes. But they're a lot lighter.
I love the nose. I'm going for the sip.
Me too. In my chill filtered glass, of course. The only way to do it.
This is actually really good, Randall.
It is. It's pretty good.
It's the weird finish that's the oxidation.
Yeah. You can tell on the finish. The palate's super nice. Super nice. It's sweet.
One of the best dusties I've had, to be honest. Yeah.
And I mean, it is so dusty too. Like it is so. Like not just that it's old, but like the dust, the corn dustiness of it. But then I'm getting almost like a caramel corn on it, like super sweet finish on it. Getting past the oxidization, obviously, but like super sweet, super viscous. Man,
that's hitting some appley notes for me.
It is. Yeah.
Wow. Like up front, if that front of the palate could continue to the finish, this would be a 9+.
Absolutely.
Like an A+ kind of.
Absolutely.
I have really not many complaints though, even without that continuation.
It does fall off.
Good for a 50-year-old whiskey.
Absolutely. It does fall off at the end, but like up until that end, like it's I will tell you the new 101 8 year. It doesn't stand up at all. Now, I will tell you also back then, and this is not to get into this part of it.
Yeah.
All of the grains they were doing were non-GMO.
Makes sense.
And everything was, they were getting it from more local
cleaner.
farms. They were getting it more locally than they were today. Today they get them from, North Carolina, South Carolina, something like that. So and they're obviously genetically modified to be the highest yield that they can be, which that doesn't take away from the flavor of it. It just gives you more of that barrel candy because the corn doesn't have a flavor. Whereas the older stuff, you're going to get more of that corn flavor, which I really enjoy. And doing a side-by-side with that, obviously you have the bougie 15. So, doing a side-by-side with that is going to be a little bit different, but
I mean, they're totally different. They're apples to oranges. But I'm impressed with this.
No, I am too.
Especially the really sweet apple notes. It's almost a little complex in the appleness to it.
It is.
I dig it.
Like it's, I don't know if it's caramel apple or if it's the red, the red 40 dipped candied apple, where it has this innate sweetness, but I can't really pin it on caramel or toffee or whatever you would call it. Like it's more like like you say, a white sugar sweetness. It's 100%. It's really hitting.
Honestly, the front of the palate, like the 1 through 4 out of 10 is like, honestly, like good weeded Buffalo Trace.
Yep.
To me. And I mean the front of the palate for this is similar to some of the best of the beginnings of the seasoned wood I have. So that's high grade.
Wow.
That's
okay.
Wow. It doesn't continue that way, but up front, you're like, if this continues, this could be one of the greatest things that we're drinking.
Absolutely. And so think about, what people were drinking back then. They thought this was just commonplace whiskey that people were drinking. And they're like, hey, this is just sitting on the shelf. I'm going to pour this for my boss who came over for, how back in the day, like your boss would come over for dinner and, you'd have to meet the family and all the things. Like, I'm going to pour this for him because it's a cool decanter and stuff like that. Like, they didn't realize it was some of the best whiskey Wild Turkey has ever made. Like, it's so crazy.
Stoked to try this now. Like,
absolutely,
really, because this has less oxidation because it's
sealed.
It's a screw cap.
Yeah. So I put like 3 drops in probably a quarter of an ounce. Man, the apple really comes out. It really does. To me, now it might taste like doo-doo to you, but
we'll find out. The nose peaks up a little bit in terms of alcohol vapors to me.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, the alcohol comes through a little bit too. But man, it's
not terrible though.
No, it's not. It's a lot more fresh, I guess I could say, like cut grass and stuff like that.
Much more butterscotch.
Yeah.
Is one of my favorite notes.
Yeah.
If you can mix apple and butterscotch, you're getting a 9+ from me. So
yeah.
Hard to see where my rating's going on this thing.
Yeah. Wow. It does fall off pretty. It does fall off pretty good.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. It's not like it doesn't get to the terrible at the end of it.
It's
just not as good as the front. Yeah.
Right.
Dude. So if these were all like, I imagine some of the oxidation has to do with the finish, or the finish has to do with the oxidation. But if you were to take away the oxidation, which maybe I'll find out with my 87 bottle. I need to go back in time and just grab a ton of old Wild Turkeys because this is good.
All right, so I did a drop in mine, ice, little bit of cubage, and I'm sure it's gonna mute it a lot. Yeah. Wow, it's actually it made it colder. It's very strange.
Whiskey in here. A weird musty note.
Yeah, it came out.
Yeah, like a weird note.
Yeah, it got real weird.
Yeah, on the nose at least. We'll see what the palate's like.
It's like old popcorn. Like 2-day old popcorn. So if you have 40-year-old whiskey, don't put ice in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't help it.
I'm not saying it's trash.
It's not trash.
it doesn't give it a good version of this.
No. So luckily I have just a little bit left to go back with, because let me put whatever dredges are in there and we'll do the straight. I think I'm neat. I think I'm neat all the way. Water was actually pretty good, with minimal droppage.
Yeah.
You don't want to put a whole lot of water in there because it's already, I'm sure I want to think I tested it, which, me being the whiskey nerd, I have an alcohol meter and I don't have one of the Anton Par ones. So it's not 100%. I don't have $5,000 to throw around.
Yeah,
so
throw around.
Yeah. But I want to think it was like 100. So it didn't drop that much proof. So
that's great.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? This is impressive. Oh, what typically would you class or categorize or give? What's your traditional note you get from Wild Turkey Distillery these days? Okay, I definitely have my it's happened on the reentry buzz where I've called out Wild Turkey before, and that's because I have one note in my head that just stays there. So
the note that I get a lot is, and it's kind of different because it's smelling the other two, the 8 year, the Wild Turkey 8 year and the rare breed. It's like almost a burnt toffee to where like it's not so much sugary anymore. It's almost scorched, but mixed with a little like dusty corn because they have obviously a higher corn content in their, it could technically, if they used uncharred barrels, it could be a corn whiskey. Like I get that a lot, which I love Wild Turkey, but I don't like we were both saying, we don't have a lot of bottles, and maybe that's my fault that I don't have more turkey on the shelf because the new 8 year, I don't know, it's not hitting with me, but the rare breed, obviously it's a lot better. So
one of my biggest notes for these days, and I've mentioned this before, is blackberries. Like berries, but like not strawberries, raspberries, or blueberries. Like it's like a darker berry, like a blackberry, of course. But that's what I've called out with like Russell's 13, Russell's 15, certain Wild Turkey products. But I am getting a little bit, but I'm getting much more apples.
Much more apple
today. Yeah,
for sure.
Especially the neat pour.
Yeah, the neat pour.
A tiny bit more.
Yeah, no, I did too. And then going back to the new 101, it doesn't have any of the blackberry like you're saying. It's more, and it might be my dirty glass. I don't think it's a dirty glass. I just cleaned this glass, but it is so like there's a funk to it, like a weird funk to it. Like on the palate, it doesn't show up, but I'm actually going to pour it in another glass right now. Hold on.
While you do that,
and this is a brand new glass that I got from a podcast person. So, Stolen Wolf Distillery out of Pennsylvania.
Okay, cool. Oh, cool. Well, you know what city in Pennsylvania?
Oh, good. I knew you were going to ask me that.
I'll look it up.
They are doing amazing things with Pennsylvania rye.
Ooh, Monongahela.
No, they're actually not doing Monongahela. Cool. They're doing Rosen rye.
Lidditz. Yeah.
Okay, so it might be my glass.
Okay, cool.
It's a lot better in this glass.
Actually, we used to do, my swim team used to have a Lidditz Invitational every year.
Really?
And I made it every year, and it was a big deal for Pennsylvania swim teams to get to there and then to be able to compete there.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Lidditz, baby.
Yeah. And that's the thing. There's so many cool distilleries out there. And I know this goes into our next segment, but there's so many cool distilleries out there doing cool things that it's like, but like going back to heritage, like these heritage brands, like that have been distilling forever. Like the product doesn't change. I mean, it changes obviously, but like it doesn't change. Like they are consistently, like I was saying on a podcast recently that Wild Turkey has 2 mash bills. They have their rye and then their bourbon.
That's a good point.
That's it. That's all they do, and they do it well. Yeah, they have a cast strength version. Yeah, they have the limited edition, like the Forgotten and the Makers, Master's Keep, and all of that stuff. But it's the same whiskey. It's just unique barrels of that, or they finish it, or whatever. It's super cool to see one distillery, especially Wild Turkey, just being like, you know what, I'm gonna do me. If you like it, great.
Do what I do.
Absolutely, I'm gonna do what I do and keep doing what I do for eons, and hopefully people like it. And guess what? People do like it.
People do like it, even 50 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
You ever watch the show Scrubs?
Yeah, I've seen it. I'm not avid at it.
There's this one line where Turk, he's like, I do what I do when I do what I do. And that's Wild Turkey for you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's start giving ratings to this one.
Okay.
I showed my hand a little bit a moment ago on the rating scale. I do think this is actually a 9+, but barely. I'll give it a straight 9. This surprised me immensely, especially at the beginning of the palate. I love butterscotch and I love apple, right up my alley. The finish wasn't terrible. Like, it didn't ruin it. It just didn't sustain it.
Right.
So that's why I give this a 9.0. I'll give it an A-. Yeah.
I think I'm trying to go by you guys's thing. I'm going to give it an A. Only for a number of reasons. Obviously, the nostalgia of it, that has to play in there. But also, there's really nothing other than the oxidation at the end, which we're not talking about. There's nothing out there that says that this is bad. There's nothing in there, and the apple, the caramel, all the things that are coming through are stellar. They're just really good. So I can't see any faults other than the obvious ones. So like, it has to be an A. It has to be an A.
Yep. No, I dig that. And it's a good reason to enjoy a good Dusty. Some Dusties are all right. Like, I had that Jim Beam 1980 decanter. That was not bad. It just wasn't as good as this. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And, but that was also in a weird, who knows how much lead we might have ingested just now. Who cares? But I love it. So now that we've given our ratings, let's move over to our next segment of the show that we like to call Whiskey World News.
All right, guys, we are going to get into Whiskey World News. And so today I have something that's a little downtrodden, but we're gonna perk it up a little bit. As you guys well know, I am a Texas whiskey lover. But as of July 29th of this year, 2025, Devil's River has filed for bankruptcy. Now, this has been going on since May 1st. Devil's River Holding LLC and Devil's River Distilling have filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, protected under Subcategory V, which caters to small businesses and allows them to continue operating while restructuring debt. This filing lists total assets and liabilities of the company of over $10 million.
That's a lot of money.
And notes the distilleries owes money to over 99 people.
Oh, wow.
Despite strong consumer interest since 2017, Devil's River has faced declining revenue trends. Down 3.4 million in 2023, 3.1 million in 2024, and just 721,000 in the first 4 months of 2025. Wow. So it's not looking good. Posting a loss, a projected loss of 4.6 million for this year.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. So key contributors to this issue are inflation, rising tariffs, which we don't talk about, oversupply in the spirit market. Now we can talk about that, and problematic distribution deals with Sazerac.
Oh,
which broke down amidst litigation and disrupted sales. The largest creditor, a legal firm, McDermott, Will and Emery, they lost $317,000, which they were
Okay.
representing them. And
Okay.
Sazerac has lost $259,000, and their landlord at 401 East Houston Street, which is in the shadow of the Alamo, has lost over $132,000 from this distillery. A group of key investors called the LSD, not the drug, obviously, LSD Lending Company, has poured over $10 million and extended loans, which included a $3.6 million note, have urged the distillery to liquidate all assets, sales, and arguing that the company has never turned a profit. The recognized plan includes securing cash collateral and operation capital, with new distribution agreements projected to save up to $2 million a year, and aim to stabilize operations without shutting down. So, with a confirmation hearing set for August 27th, so in the near future, CEO Mike Cameron has expressed confidence in a turnaround, even though creditors from LSD Lending remain skeptical. The company's ability to become profitable. Meanwhile, operations in the downtown tasting room and speakeasy remain functional, and the company continues to pursue strategic distribution deals and potential growth venues. Now, on a personal note, I've had Mike Cameron himself come on to my podcast, and talk to me about everything. And as one would not do, he didn't talk about the woes of the company, which as a whiskey lover, I want to hear the good and the bad, right? If you're struggling, let's pray about it. Let's let's get it out there so people understand, support you as much as possible. But it really hurts my heart that all of this is going on with them, and it's not just them. It's a lot of other small craft distilleries that are just, they took too big of a bite and they tried to expand too large. And the product, obviously with whiskey, you have to let it sit. They didn't want to source. They wanted to do everything in-house. So you're talking 2.5 years to get a product on the shelf. And then nobody wants to buy your stuff because there's the market is so broad. And so it's really hard for these, distilleries to do it. But we'll see what happens in August, the 27th, and see what's going on. But like, if they can save millions of dollars by doing this, I hate to see it happen, but at the same time, bankruptcy doesn't mean closing, right? It just means we have to restructure. We have to redo some things. So, So on that note, let's turn it over.
How was their product? Was it good?
Okay, so I will tell you, I was actually a blind judge for the Texas Whiskey Festival that just happened a couple months ago. They picked me because I'm the best at tasting whiskey. No, I'm joking. I was one of whiskey taster. Absolutely. And we picked their 5-year-old rye as the best rye on the thing.
No way.
So they're doing cool things. The issue is nobody's ever heard of them. Like Texas people have, but nobody else has ever heard of them. They are literally, you can look out your back door and see the Alamo from their distillery.
That's cool.
So it's downtown San Antonio. Like you should be able to go there, get a bottle, do the thing, do the tastings. And they are trying to do everything in-house and do it the way that it's supposed to be done. But obviously that doesn't
work on marketing.
That doesn't make money. That doesn't make money. So, and they were gracious enough to send over some samples, and we tried them, and it was great. But it just hurts my heart to see another distillery, which we've heard of so many. What is it, Westward as well? It's like all of these distilleries just kind of changing what they have to do, and some of them having to sell out to a bigger brand to get more backing, which is fine. Absolutely. Wilderness Trail and Balcones did it a number of years ago, and they haven't changed their product, which luckily, praise God that didn't happen, because if you got a Balcones that tasted like everything else that Diageo was making, you wouldn't want that. You buy Balcones and you buy Devil's River because you want it to taste like that. And I'll have to send you some samples of the Devil's River bourbon. That's the only one I have left. I finished off the other one. It's so good. Like, it's really good. It's just, when you don't have distribution and you don't have and they do have a bunch of I think the issue was, and this is just my personal opinion, was they had too many investors and they wanted product out on the shelf, right away. And they were dumping a bunch of money in. Well, it costs a lot of money to make whiskey. So there you go. You're stuck.
For sure.
You're stuck. So
that's super interesting. And
it is.
And it's cool to see that you very much respected them as a whiskey maker, because sometimes you hear these smaller distilleries and you're like, maybe you're just hopping on the bandwagon, but the fact that they were doing it all in-house and they had a really good rye product after a few years and like probably more than that. But I was recently watching a video on the death of craft beer. And craft beer, probably 15 years ago, craft beer was really taking off, and either you got bought out or you got dead. And that's the things to I look at there's a local brewery to Virginia that is called a Devil's Backbone, and they have some really good options out, especially in Virginia. But they got bought out by Anheuser, and it's like cool to some extent, but it's also like it's suddenly not craft beer anymore, and it's suddenly not something crazy special. But I just part of it's just the boom that probably started somewhat similarly. I think the bourbon boom probably started about 2012 and slightly dying now.
It is.
And it's hard because I say it's slightly dying, but I still can't find certain bottles. So there's still some holdouts that are
there really are
that I can't.
There really are.
But it's sad because some of these, like you look at things like Wilderness Trail, who started probably right around, I want to say they started in 2012.
Yep.
And you look at companies like Devil's River, these. They were taking advantage of they had a good product. It's not that they were just taking advantage of a time period where people were buying whiskey. It's just they had something good. And don't get me wrong, I still love Wilderness Trail, even though Campari owns it.
Right.
But it's just different now. And and I really wish the best for Devil's River. River, right?
Yeah.
Because I want them to do well. But
it is sad, but at the same time, distilleries come and go, and there will be another one to take its place that is doing something cool and different as well. So we just have to now not lose faith, obviously, in these distilleries that are struggling. Obviously, we want to support them and do as much as we can. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up, is to kind of like raise awareness for it. But at the same time, like, if it's a if it's a burning dumpster going down the highway, you don't really want to stop it, right? Like, I mean, it's just like sometimes it needs to fizzle out. Maybe there was a reason management wise, or who knows.
Maybe it's terrible whiskey.
Maybe it's terrible whiskey. Who knows?
It's real.
They do have a cinnamon whiskey that they make, so we'll just say that. So.
Yeah, but that's not what they're known for. That's not what they win awards for.
No, they don't.
No, I love that. Thanks for bringing awareness. We brought up actually a really cool follow up to that with what whiskey would you choose this week.
Yep.
And I'm not going to go over last week's results. We'll double up on them next week with Bryan. But we have a fun one this week, and I think the Whiskey Shaman will have a really cool answer to this, which I'm looking forward to. But the question this week is, what's the best whiskey most people have never heard of? So,
okay.
And I'm not going to say Del Bach this time, because I do think they are fitting of that, but a lot of more people are hearing about them. So
yeah, no, they are. And Del Bach is obviously doing amazing things, but I can only speak of recent people that I have been introduced to and turned on to. Yeah. And there's a smaller distillery coming out of Nevada called Minden Mill. Nice. And the head distiller, the master distiller, Joe O'Sullivan, who came from Clear Creek, McCarthy's, Hood River, all those, and then worked a little bit in some other places, is really doing some cool stuff. And they have 4 and 5 year old age stated products out on the market right now. But the doors have only been open for about 8 months.
Oh wow.
So like they are so new because they waited so long, and they are an estate distillery, which means 80% of everything they make has to be made
in-house
on premises. Right.
Yeah.
So they're getting their grain from a local farm, which is literally they're overseeing everything. It's a mile down the road. So they're being able to see the rye grow into fruition. The corn, they're using heirloom corn, which is like a multicolored corn, which is super cool. It's not just a yellow dent corn. It's a multicolored, they call it brown corn. I don't know why they call it brown corn, but they call it that. It makes it sound a little weird, but you know, so, and that's the thing, like, yeah, they're doing cool stuff, and that you might have never heard of them, but guess what? I just released a podcast with them. So Minden, Minden Mill. They're out of Minden. They're out of Minden, Nevada.
That's cool.
Doing amazing things.
I have a non-American answer.
Let's go.
So there is a distillery that I was introduced to very early in my whiskey realm that I think needs a lot more attention. And I believe they do. I 100% know they do distribute in the U.S. But almost no one's heard of them. You ever heard of the distillery called Sullivan's Cove?
I'm going to say no.
So they're out of Tasmania. They're Australian. And as all good Australian whiskeys are, they're from Tasmania. And don't get me wrong, I loved
Starward.
Starward. Thank you so much, because I would have never thought of that. Loved Starward. They're out of Melbourne. But the true single malts of Australia have been around for a while in Tasmania. And Tasmania is basically the Scotland of the Southern Hemisphere.
It really is. It really is.
And they have Lark Distillery, Sullivan's Cove. I'm forgetting which other ones. But they are doing great things. And Sullivan's Cove was like I said, one of the first single malts I've ever really been exposed to. And no one's heard of them, but they are putting out good stuff. And shout out to one of our favorite Australian listeners from Tasmania itself is Joel Bradbury, who lives in Tasmania and has introduced us to a few things like Sullivan's Cove and Lark Distillery stuff and stuff like that. So
awesome.
Dude's doing the Lord's work out.
I actually tried a Tasmanian whiskey. It did not say which one it was, but it was Rare Hair. Have you heard of Rare Hair?
I think that's Lark, or no, maybe that's its own thing.
I think they're a blending house or something like that. Cool. And they take cool whiskey and blend it. And it was a Tasmanian, like a 20-something-year-old Tasmanian whiskey.
Whoa. Yeah, that's the thing, is it's been around so long.
Yeah.
In Tasmania, but no one's heard of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was so weird when I originally tried it, but I have a small sample over there on my sample board of it again, and I need to get back into it because like it was blue cheese funky at first, nice. But now I'm thinking, setting with everything. Obviously, it could open up a little bit, and I'm the person who gave me the sample said it was like $1,000 bottle. So like,
wow,
I don't know, crazy.
Joel sent us a sample of something. He I forget what he labeled it as, but apparently I think it was Lark. I might be wrong, but it was a local to him single malt that they basically gave him a barrel of. I don't know how big the barrel was. Wow. He was aging it under his house, and he sent a sample of it, and I drank it. With Bryan, just like I was like, hey, let's drink this. This was sent from us from Joel. As I'm drinking it, Bryan looks at me in the eye, and I'm like, this is potentially the greatest single malt I've ever had in my life. And it was just some random dude,
some
Joel
dude
had it under his house, and he unfortunately said recently it has overaged. But it was like pineapple notes. And I was like, holy crap, like this is just like everything I would want in a single malt. And it wasn't anything, nothing was forced. Like it was just how it was,
Right.
So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so check out some Tasmanian single malts, everyone, but also bring some attention to those American craft distilleries too.
Absolutely.
But I like those answers. We'll put them up this week on What Whiskey Would You Choose for Instagram. But that's about it. We'll pick up next week. I think we're between that Michter's 10-year on the we probably have the results already, but we put up Michter's 10-year versus Bomberger's PFG, something like that. And so vote's over, but we'll find out what we drink next week. But if you guys could wish, I hope that everyone wishes Bryan some good vibes and good prayers, and that he can recover quickly, because not only do we want him back on the podcast, we want him to feel good inside. So
amen. Yep.
Yeah.
And I hope that this episode didn't suck. No, I hope that you guys seek out a little bit more dusty whiskey, right?
Yeah.
And find something that's hiding in your grandma's cabinet way in the back and be like, let's try this. Because it really is showcasing it's a time capsule, really, of what whiskey was doing back then. And then I hope you're able to explore that.
Yeah, I hope some people are able to enjoy 1987 vintage with me in the great state of Wisconsin in about a month and a half.
Amen.
But before I say the most of all, thank you so much, Randall, for joining us this week.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being flexible and just being a good buddy. They can
appreciate that.
be there for us when we need them.
Appreciate that.
If you ever need us there for you, to be a guest co-host or something like that, let us know.
Very much so. Very much so. Let's right now, let's go.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly. But most of all, everyone, listeners, viewers, friends, supporters, we hope that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits. I do what I do when I do what I do.